We're here with Mark Heyck. He's running for re-election for the City of Yellowknife. Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll get going from there.
Sure, Mike. Born and raised in Yellowknife. Grew up here, moved away when my parents retired and moved to Ontario for a few years, but came back at the first opportunity. It's always been home for me. Served 3 terms and 9 years on the City Council prior to taking the step of running for mayor in 2012.
Maybe just tell us why you're running for a second term.
Sure. So I think, I learned from my experience on council that it generally takes at least 1 term in a particular position to figure out the job and understand how you can best serve the public. So I'm no different than being on council. I think there was a learning curve being mayor for 1 term. And I think we got a lot of good initiatives underway that I'd like to see through in a second term.
Okay. Let's talk about what you think the issues are and what these initiatives are for the next term.
Sure. So I think downtown revitalization has been a big issue for this council. I think we've taken some positive steps to improve downtown Yellowknife, make it a more safe and vibrant place. But I think there's work that remains to be done there. Certainly, cost of living is always a big issue for Yellowknifers, and while the city has limited control over affecting cost of living, there are some things we can do. Over the last 5 years, we've made sure that we've had a steady stream of new housing stock coming onto the market every year, and we need to continue to do that to make sure that we maintain some degree of housing affordability. And another issue that we've been talking about at the city and with our Community Energy Planning Committee is the idea of using local improvement charges to help homeowners or businesses either make energy efficiency retrofits to their buildings or implement renewable technologies that can then be paid back over a period of time but instantly start saving people money.
One of the things a lot of people have been talking about is the 50-50 lot and the homelessness issue.
Yeah.
What do you see the city doing there? Like, what's your vision for the 50-50 lot, and what should be done about the situation with social issues downtown?
Sure. Well, with the 50-50 lot, as a councillor for 9 years, the conversation came up many times about potentially the city purchasing that lot. And my position at the time was that we shouldn't get involved, that somebody else will step in, somebody else will take a leadership role and turn that part of the downtown around. I came to the conclusion this past term that that wasn't going to happen, and that any municipality that wants to revitalize its downtown needs to take a leadership role. So I felt strongly that now is the time for the city to do that. We still have some work yet to do on what the 50-50 lot will ultimately look like, but I think it was key that this council stepped up to make that decision and to really put some skin in the game and to be able to sit down with the REITs that own the mall and to be able to come up with some positive solutions for downtown. On the homelessness issue, certainly that's a concern for the community, and it's a concern for myself and council. We have, I think, stepped up our active participation in the issue over the past several years. Bailey House, the creation of the construction of Lynn's Safe Place for Women, most recently opening Hope's Haven with the side door that provides transitional housing for youth. But there's more that we can do, and I think it's critical, and this is one of the core things that I want to work on if I'm re-elected, is to bring together all those agencies, all those orders of government that have some involvement, bring the private sector in to work on finding solutions. Let's sit down on a limited time basis, take a look at all the best practices across the country and determine what's going to work here in Yellowknife, because in my experience we've undertaken several efforts, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of cohesion to it, so I think we need to refocus our efforts on those things.
Some of the things that were talked about earlier in your term were bringing in a Yellowknife RCMP force for the downtown and behavioral bylaws. Is this some of the stuff that we may be talking about the next term as well, if you're re-elected? Potentially,
though I would say that over the course of my term I've learned and better understand the RCMP situation and how they operate. Policing is only one aspect, and over numerous conversations with the RCMP, they are the first to recognize that more policing and more enforcement alone is not the answer. That there has to be a role for health and social services, for the Department of Justice. We've seen some positive steps, the creation of wellness courts and other things like that, but I think more needs to be done holistically to really address the issue in a serious way.
Any final thoughts?
Well, I've really enjoyed my term as mayor. It's been great to serve the city of Yellowknife and our residents. I think we are on a positive track, and I'd like to continue to contribute whatever I can to those efforts. Well, thanks very much, Mark, and good luck in the election campaign. Thanks, Mike. Yeah.